Hello, friends. Come on in. Welcome, welcome.
Let's see if anyone shows up.
Yeah, Joseph Michael is in the house, and so is Yova and Caitlin. Come on in.
Yay!
Welcome, welcome.
It
Rosamond.
has it has been a while. Feels good. Feels
Yes,
right to be
yes,
back.
yes,
hmm
yes. Jordan Davis. Sin and Madness. That's awesome, guys.
Yeah, this episode of a live stream is going to be spoiler heavy. So if you haven't watched any Mando or haven't watched it, the recent episode or the last two, skedaddle. Get out of here, pop off, and go watch it. Milo, no, go watch it and come back and listen.
Yeah,
because we're talking about it all. So spoilers are already dropping in the chat. So go away if you haven't. Yeah. Oh, Cinemadness says never seen a stream live from this channel before.
wow.
Well, welcome, and hopefully we can entertain you, because sometimes we struggle hardcore. So this will be interesting. This will be interesting, but welcome.
Sorry, I'm just putting in a spoiler warning in the title because I forgot to do that. Oops.
Jennifer Oliver, hi. She says great Star Wars stuff in Mando. I have to say that this episode in particular really felt Star Warsy, as just with the camera angles alone.
Yeah.
Kudos to Bryce Dallas Howard, who directed this episode. She did fantastic work with those camera angles, especially with the stormtroopers and just the way they were careening through the ship with the angles. It was very nostalgic in that feel. So camera angles were great as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I there was a note that said that she had one of the hardest, most essential episodes this season, and I
Yeah.
think that it is true. She did have one of the hardest episodes to film, because I think this hinges, this gives us a lot of clues of where the season is going. I loved episode 1. I am a Knights of the Old Republic game fanatic, and the episode 1 was like they just pulled the Tatooine storyline from Knights of the Old Republic, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna find a pearl, oh, they're gonna blow him up in dynamite, oh, they're going to lure him in with the bantha. And then all of a sudden, when Mando does the letting him, basically the Jonah ploy, where he allows the dragon to swallow him and then rocket ships out of there, I'm like, okay, well, now he's stealing some Kylo Ren.
Yeah, with the Zillow Beast.
Yeah,
in the comic. Yeah, that was awesome. And who doesn't love Timothy Oliphant? Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah.
He, and I tweeted this before we went on Twitter hiatus. They said he is a fine wine. Like the minute he walked in and I heard the voice before I saw him, I'm like, oh my god! And then I saw him and I'm just like, yes, he looks so good. I'm just gonna gush because I love him, and I hope we see more of him, even though I don't think we will because it's just a cameo. But
well, no, he said to Mando, I hope we see each other again or something. And so usually,
hopefully he just becomes such a favorite that we do see him.
So usually when a character says that, then that means that it's a foreshadowing that they're going to meet and work together again.
Yeah, I hope so, because that was fun to see.
Yeah, I also really liked episode 2. I thought episode 2 was a little bit more sci-fi horror, but
that was full of nope for me.
Well, I'm not going to say I loved it. You and I talked way before the social media extravaganza. Like, I had a lot of sensitivity for what the child ate the eggs, and what that meant to that poor frog woman, and all of that. But at the same time, I do, just in character development, I'm glad to see that we're seeing Mando struggle as a father, because really, he's not feeding that child enough, if that's what's going on. And so to me, and I mean, really, that is the crux of the matter. Like, and even in episode 3, poor child gets a bowl of heaven knows what with a hand in it. So, I do like, I do like the child challenging him in episode 2. I don't like how the child challenges him. I do not appreciate that. I think it's very, very dark, and I was really, really disturbed by it. But I did like the fact that, you know, the child is not just this magical being, but now he is having weaknesses. Yeah. Right. He has weaknesses and he has flaws, and those flaws are have significant damages, plus the fact that you also see him holding Mando accountable, because when the Frog Mother said to, you know, I thought Mandalorians always keep their word, isn't that your code? And Baby Yoda looks at Mando like, yeah, isn't it? And I was like, you go, child, you go. So I'm looking at the positives, and I'm trying not to concentrate on the horrific negative of it, because again, it's just, and you and I talked about it right before the stream, it is just the norm now for female characters in Star Wars to get, I don't even know how to say it, to have their children ripped away from them, you know, or to be treated unfairly, or yeah, it's just the characters and the fans.
Molly Thomas said, I always got the impression that Yoda's species was reptile based, so eating eggs would be instinctive. And certainly I when I saw that scene happen, multiple scenes, I did think it was a bit much, only because of the story behind it. Like, this wasn't like he just found them, you know, and was eating them. Like, she is trying to get these eggs fertilized and this is her last cycle, like, until she dies. Like, so she's trying to get to her husband, she's trying to get them fertilized. So I just felt, you know, I felt one would have been funny, not gonna lie, like, oh my god, stop, you know, like, oh, holy cow. One is kind of like, ooh, okay, but then to do it again and again, obviously the eggs aren't fertilized, so I can see the writers going, oh, it's funny, it's just, you know, like what do you eat? You eat chicken eggs, so it's like, oh, okay, same thing. Well, it's like, it's not really the same, and it definitely hits differently, and it hits personally for a lot of women who are definitely struggling to conceive or have had personal issues. I think it was definitely not as appropriate as it could have been, and it hit below the belt, so to speak, for a lot of women going through fertility struggles. So again, one egg I can see would be humorous, okay, stop, and then the rest of the eggs are fine. But I do feel they took it a bit too far with that. I agree. Especially because it's her last, she's protecting them, and hello.
Baby Yoda, if you're going to demand integrity from Mando, you're going to need to exercise it as well and be good. And even this episode 3, he was, very close to the young, and Mando had to pull him away. So you have this ongoing, dark humor. And I think they also are going through the circle of life and the fact that, and I think someone said that, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but Yoda does look like he's some sort of species, that a reptilic species that eats. So it makes sense. But I do not like the analogy of we eat eggs that are unfertilized. It's like the same thing of eating chicken eggs. Well, I am not hearing the hopes and fears of the hen,
in my spaceship trying to get to the rooster to fertilize her eggs. Like, we didn't personify the hen.
Yeah.
And this isn't vegan wars here. Like, I love vegans. Some of my friends are vegan. I'm just saying, like, as far as the show goes, we did not personify. A hen is not being personified, and we certainly don't personify a hen in various cultures and our eating habits.
Yeah, exactly.
So this reptilian creature entity is wearing clothes and can now talk, like reprogram a dead robot and talk through it in order to communicate with Din. So
yeah, it's a little bit different. It's because I'm not hearing the hen's hopes and dreams. I'm hearing that woman's dreams. Exactly. So it is very different. But I will say, I loved how they made her the hero when you see one of and I can't remember. I know the spiders have a name. Forgive me. You can tell. You can ask Luthien. I've been forgetting names all day long today.
I was sitting next to Hubs, and I'm just like, no. The minute Baby Yoda walked through and you saw those sacks standing there, I'm just like, oh no, something's in them and he's gonna eat it. Sure enough, he did. It ate it. And I'm just going, nope, that's a spider. And there's a mama, and there's some bigger one. Oh, here it comes. And I hate spiders. Hate them. And I couldn't. No, not good.
But here's this mama frog who has seen this little child eat her eggs, her hope, and saves him on the ship, kills the spider when Baby Yoda is about to be attacked. And I love the fact that they gave that little frog mama that heroic moment of how compassionate and loving she is to all children, even the child that has threatened the lives of her offspring. And I thought that was a beautiful moment for her character.
I loved it in the episode 3 when the first of the when Din goes to that mission with Bo-Katan and the other two, and he leaves Baby Yoda with them, her and her husband, and then Baby Yoda sees the first the first one hatch out. Then they're washing it off or whatever, and it's just swimming around or crawling now, whatever it's doing. He sees it, and he sees that it's life, and he or she, the child, is petting it. So that was a very adorable moment. And then, Din comes back, grabs Baby Yoda, and it's just like, oh, I don't want to go.
Yeah. So, episode 3. Now that we skipped over the hard episode. episode 3 was, I think, a monumental. And I think that's been the consensus. Although Lou and I have not been on social media, so we have not heard a lot of the reviews or anything, but I felt a disturbance in the force after I watched that episode, because I'm like, oh, okay, here comes Bo-Katan. Everyone. So
yeah, that was awesome. I knew she was in it. I mean, there were the all the rumors flying around before we left Twitter, but she posted a picture, Katie Sackhoff, she posted a picture of the red hair, and she was drinking Starbucks and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait. And I knew she was going to be in it. I just didn't know which episode she would pop into. So her popping into this episode was really, really cool. And then another huge spoiler is her literally name dropping Ahsoka Tano at the end and telling Din that that's the Jedi he needs to find. Oh my God. So good. Feels good.
We know that was coming too.
Yep.
You know? But we had a theory that we were going to share, I think about 2 weeks ago. And then I lost the internet for 3 days. Basically my whole city did, my whole little town. So we had to cancel that live stream. But this episode, as I was watching it, goes, oh my goodness. I was going, oh my goodness, this really does, I think, aid some speculation that we have of how the Mandalorian is really being a bridge for all of these different stories in the Star Wars universe, because most adults or most mainstream fans probably do not watch the Clone Wars and Resistance and Rebels, so they may not understand how the world between world works and who Ahsoka is. And so here is a lovely way of this is the way a lovely way of like bridging this understanding for the adults, the adult fans of the Mandalorian, Star Wars fans who may not be watching the cartoons. So Lou and I were thinking, and we believe that this could be alluding to the fact of Ahsoka and Sabine and perhaps Ezra being in The Mandalorian, and Sabine talking about her experience of finding Ezra in the world between worlds. And, you know, if we get a Ben Solo series or movie or whatever set of novels, I'm not picky, I just need more Ben in my life, then this could be the precursor that will set that up, that understanding up. Because like you have all the little portals that they found that allow a person to enter the world between worlds. You have so many things that you got to set up in the general knowledge of Star Wars before you can have like a mega, episode. Because I think so we were going to kind of explore that. Because if you haven't seen Rebels, again, spoiler, I'm sorry. And if you haven't seen the Clone Wars, those are all united by one person, and that is Bo-Katan. Because she served with, Sabine Wren's mother, Ursa Wren, was Bo-Katan's, assistant or second in command. So they're very, very tight. And you also have Sabine was the one that had the dark saber that united the Mandalorian clans first in Rebels. But then when Bo-Katan comes, she's the one that gives over that saber to her so that she can lead. And if you don't know the dark saber's history, that dark saber is not just a kick-ass weapon. That dark saber is basically the Excalibur to the Mandalorians. Like, it is basically who wields the sword, leads and rules and unites the clans. So that lightsaber is the hopes and dreams of the Mandalorians. So they're really setting up and uniting this galaxy, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Sabine and Ezra and we hear tales of the world between worlds. And I also think there is a lot of parallels between the Child and Ben Solo. The Child and Rey, Ben and Mando.
Super chat. Thank you so much. Bo-Katan asked about the Darksaber. Yep, she asked about it, and we know that Sabine gave Bo the Darksaber, and she used it to unite the clans. Sorry, I think of Braveheart every single time, and that was horrible Scottish. But and then somehow between then and now, she lost it, or Moff Gideon, it came to his possession, so we know Moff Gideon has it now. So this will be, we're going to see Bo again. We just are. That's a given. But now it'd be awesome if not only we see Ahsoka, we see Sabine, and they're trying to find Ezra, and it's the first time we heard, Yova said it's the first time we heard Ahsoka's name stated in live action, which is just awesome. Yeah, I just love that Dave Filoni has pretty much given his baby over to live action, and it's awesome that hopefully he'll be directing that episode, because it's his baby.
Not only does the Darksaber be kind of like a unity in this, it's also a fusion of the Mandalorian with the Jedi, because the person who wielded and created that lightsaber was the first ever Mandalorian who was entered the Jedi Order. So he is like a 2-in-1. So here is this Mandalorian who is trying to find an enemy order, the Jedi, to give this child up to them. So you have this fusion, this story of a child of the Force and a Mandalorian working as a clan of two. So, like, in some ways, they are the Darksaber too. They're the Jedi meets the Mandalorian. So I can see these two things really tying together. Like when you see Mando and Kylo as the same person. Like in season 1, episode 1, when Mando enters, you hear his theme, and you hear a little bit of Kylo's theme, and then it goes dun 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 dun, and you hear Kylo. Well, Mando is with a Jedi healer. Baby Yoda literally has the same power as Rey does. Yeah. And I think the Child and Mando are going to bring balance, because one of the big quotes for episode 1, which they said again in the review of season 1, is that I think Krill says, in order for us to be free, the old ways must be lost. Well, what is the old way? What was the way that conquered the Jedi and the Mandalorians from being enemies because of the Mandalorian Wars? And what is this? How are the Jedi and the Mandalorians the same? They're both almost like occultish. Like, they both abduct children into an order and basically like brainwash them. I think that was something that was a little jarring, because Lou and I have discussed this before. We think that the Mandalorians, that's going to be something that is Jen has a lot of trauma. In fact, in season 1, every time he thinks about the trauma of his childhood, he hears it when the blacksmith is at work, and you see the door closing in on him as a child just as the helmet comes on. And in the review of season 1, when Krill says, like, and I know I'm paraphrasing this quote, but he says, man, people will not be free until the old ways are lost. You see the Mandalorian closing the hatch of the pod on Baby Yoda, and it's the same style shot of the helmet going on him. So it's this kind of like an eerie suspicion that we have that the clan that Mandalore is in is not a healthy clan. In fact, it's called a cult. It's called an occult here.
I just love how you said Baby Yoga with a G, which reminds me of yogurt from Spaceballs. Sorry. Spaceballs humor. It's fine. We'll keep going.
So I really think this is all about balancing of the Force. Like, things coming in balance and things being healed. The Mandalorian wars were centuries old. That was a war between Revan and Mandalore, and it fractioned off and still has its results this day in the galaxy. So this could be like Ben and Rey are the healing of the Jedi, and then Baby Yoda and Mandalore are the healing of the rift between two ideals, which I think at their heart are ideals of nobility and integrity. So it's balance. It's like the dark saber, a lightsaber being dark.
Meredith says, do you think we'll get Palpatine's return hints in Mando? I think to go back up, someone else asked, Jared with a super chat, thank you so much. Do you think we'll get Ahsoka's thoughts on the Empire? Here's how I feel. I'm going to answer those two questions simultaneously. Thank you for the super chat, Jared, and your question, Meredith. I think we'll hear a lot of that when Ahsoka is introduced. We're going to get a lot of calls of what's happening, what's going on in the general atmosphere of the Empire and the New Republic. To answer one of Geralt of Trivia's questions, I think the New Republic is trying to get their feet now. They're probably back into small factions, weeding out these parts of the Empire that are trying to get a foothold again. Because just because the Empire or the Emperor's quote unquote dead doesn't mean that these factions are going to stop. They're still are going to try to rise up and take certain areas back. So I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing certain Republic strongholds. We're seeing certain Empire strongholds, and we're not seeing that in full. It's because that's not the story. The story is following this Mandalorian. But I think we will get some answers and some Easter eggs regarding all of that when in the middle to the back half of this season with Ahsoka, and maybe we'll even see Sabine. Who knows? But we'll get that. It's just a matter of when. Hope that answered everyone's question. Molly Thomas, yes, I'm your father's brother's sister's cousin's second roommate. Oh my God. Everyone, if you haven't seen Spaceballs, you have to, because it's a hilarious spoof of Star Wars. So good. So good. John Candy, rest in peace, man. Brilliant. You got any more, Em?
Well, what do you think of the theory? Thoughts, opinions?
I think it's sound. Not gonna lie, I don't put past anything Disney and Lucasfilm Limited these days to give us little hints of awesomeness and pull it away. So,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, as far as that's concerned, I mean, obviously this is a big theory. It's sound. It's Mythbusters plausible. I'm all for it, obviously. A part of me is, you know what, I'm just going to sit back and see what happens. Because a lot of people were burned. Half the fandom was burned, half was not. And I'm in the camp of, I'm just going to sit back and wait and see what happens, because I have all the faith I have in Disney and Lucasfilm now is nostalgia, because we're getting it in spades. So we'll just have to wait and see. That's where I am. That's where I stand right now. Not that I don't want it. I'm just cautiously sitting back and just watching.
You're the sadder but wiser fan.
I wouldn't call it sad. I'd call it realist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you've been burned before is what I meant. And I agree. I'm the same way. I guess I'm just holding on a little bit more hope because Dave Filoni is involved in this. And I think Dave Filoni understands Star Wars a lot more than the people who were working on the sequel trilogy. And I'm not talking the whole sequel trilogy. I'm talking about The Rise of Skywalker. So I think, look at the hope that this show, The Mandalorian, already has on people. Like, after the first episode, I watched it and I said, oh my gosh, I actually enjoyed something Star Wars today. Yay! I was so excited that I had that relief and that experience again. So yeah, it could be just a blind hope. It could be just a theory. I'm not saying that this is true. This is fact. This is the way it's going to go. I don't know. I'm just saying there are a lot of parallels between the Raylo relationship as one of balance with Mando and the child, and how compassion and love, although it, one is between father and son, the other is between a dyad, a husband and wife. It's, yeah, love is the way. It's a clan of two. It's a dyad, two that are one. So, you have similar themes and patterns. And what if The Mandalorian is the show that kind of restores and resets the relationship between Rey and Ben? Because one thing that I think really needs to be done, and I was hoping The Rise of Skywalker would do, is reset who Ben Solo is to people. Yeah. Because people need to know who Ben Solo is. Like Raylos, when we see Kylo, we don't see this evil man in a mask. We see a Ben Solo being trapped into this coffin called Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is just a shell. I mean, that is canon. That is what it says. Luke saw Ben Solo, Kylo, and Kylo Ren was just a shell that was hiding a very broken boy. That is a quote. So, we look at him, or, you and I, Raylos are different, but you and I see him and we see Ben Solo. We see the person that he really is, a person that has too much of his father's heart. Well, what we need to see and why we love him is what people who denied him and hate him, they need to go on the story journey with him so that they can fall in love with him too. And I'm saying fall in love, I mean like loving this character. And then perhaps they can see what we see, and then Rey and Ben can live happily ever after, and that's my hope.
And if you guys are getting an experience the lag, just hop out of the chat and come back in. We can't do anything about the lag, so that might work on your guys' end to do that. Joseph Michael with a super chat, thank you so much. He gave you hugs.
Oh, thank you. I was taking a drink of water. I'm sorry. But thank you. Thank you, Joe. Here's a hug back.
And he said, I'm glad you've been able to find joy in Star Wars again.
Yeah.
The
vacay from Twitter said I took a vacation from Twitter before our hiatus, and I felt so much better. And I was able to heal from my Star Wars pain from taking that vacation. So that's one of the reasons that we did a hiatus from Twitter, because we just felt like I felt a lot healthier being off of the bird.
It's hard because both of us experienced extremes after Trost came out. Like, I was very much over it like an hour or two after I saw it. And for M, it took a lot longer. And that's not right or wrong. That's just the way it is. So it is a delicate balance to show and have that empathy towards your co-content creator. And for all of you, a lot of you came to us and said you were hurting in different stages. Hundreds and hundreds of you did, but also hundreds and hundreds of you were probably just like me. And we're like, okay, well, we got to move on. Let's. There's some more stuff. I like Trost. Let's keep talking. So it was just a very interesting time, not only to be a fan, but to be a content creator. And Twitter moving forward, there's just, no matter what, even outside the fandom, inside the fandom, stuff going on in America and in the world, it's just so contentious right now. And we just both agreed that we needed to step away from that. It was too much, and it didn't matter if we agreed with it or not. It was too much. So we will pop in here and there. We'll definitely promote our live streams and our videos on Twitter as well. So if you're still on Twitter and that's how you would see our updates like that, you'll definitely still see them. But as far as day-to-day tweets and responses and all that, we won't be doing that so much. And I already feel better.
I do too.
Not gonna lie, like a weight has been lifted.
I feel so much healthier because, I told you I took that vacation and I was able to heal from it. And then I came back on and I started feeling that heaviness again. So we talked and we were just like, I think this is the healthiest thing for us as content creators and human beings, just to stay out of the bird nest.
Yeah. Raylo memes, we did discuss a little bit about Pablo Hidalgo. He, for those of you who just stepped in, he pretty much, some female fans went to him saying they were disturbed by episode 2, Baby Yoda eating the unfertilized eggs of the female frog lizard creature. And he pretty much brushed them off and made some really snide and crass remarks back at them. We didn't see these. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I'm saying we didn't know anything about this because we're not on Twitter right now. And even if we were, we don't follow him. Plus his account is locked and protected. So this must have been fans who escaped that purge and still were followers of his. So, but point being, we did discuss that earlier in the stream, and we pretty much denounced it, and we're moving on. As far as discussing it further, I don't think we have to. I think it was a really poor choice and a poor move on his part and how he handled it, but I'm not surprised.
We both discussed it beforehand. Yeah. I'm used to it. I'm like, sure he did. I'm not saying it's right. I completely disagree with him. And we talked about this at the very beginning. Both of us were really offended by that choice of Baby Yoda eating those eggs and just and using it for humor. But it's like it's shocking, but then at the same time it's not, because the employees treat us treat women fans as the inferior, and they treat the female characters as the inferior. And I realize that holds a lot of contention, and of course I can have a discussion but about that with you sometime, and you, I mean anyone who wants to talk about it. But I'm just kind of numb. I'm kind of like, yeah, sure he did.
Yeah.
What else is new?
Yep. Yeah. Comments. I'm seeing the comments kind of turn political. Before, I don't want to take them out, but this isn't the comment section for that. You know, no matter what side of the aisle you're on or what your feelings are, can we just keep politics out of the comment section? I don't want to block anyone. I don't want to delete anyone's posts if I don't have to. So can we just respect everyone in the comment section and the live chat and just not post any political stuff, please? And thank you.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been DMing us and just, you know, thanking us for not doing that, no matter what our thoughts and feelings are about anything going on, just allowing them to escape. And we want to keep it that way. We want to be that escape for people. If we wanted to start a political channel, we would. But this isn't a political channel. It's a pop culture, Star Wars, literary, you know, channel.
We only talk about the politics in Star Wars.
Yeah. So thanks guys. We're not harping on anyone in particular. Just respect everyone in the comment section and the live chats, and, you know, save it for other parts of social media. Just getting caught up in the comments. Starbird said, one thing I like about your channel is the exclusion of real politics, my favorite escape. And that's what we're trying to do, because it's everywhere. You can't escape it. But just for however long one of our videos are, forever, how long a podcast or a live stream is, we want you to escape for however long that medium is. So that's our main goal, because it's everywhere right now. And we just want a little bit of time to not have to think about any of that.
And I mean, there's so much going on. There's the pandemic. There's just weather. I mean, it's been weird weather. I mean, weather took down my internet and my city's internet down and power down. So this is our escape time and our fun time and our peace time. So yeah,
Alex just said, I'm really invested in politics, so it's nice to have channels like yours as an escape. Again, like, we're glad if a lot of you are invested in politics, which is a great thing to be. It's almost like a civic duty. But it's good to have escapes, and we are just trying to provide that escape. And Em and I don't begin to call ourselves political aficionados. And sure, we have our feelings and our opinions, but that's not what this channel is. So, yep. We love you all. Halen said, do you girls know of Gwendy's animated Raylo project? We do, and we've been we are a Patreon patron of hers, and we support it. We've been watching it and following along, and it's awesome. So everyone check out Gwendy 85, right? I always want to say 65, but I think it's 85.
Yeah. It's 85.
Yeah, Gwendy 85. Check her out on Twitter. She posts a lot of that stuff on Twitter. She has a Patreon page, Gwendy 85. She's doing an animated Reylo series, and she's got voice actors for it. It's awesome, awesome, awesome.
Minky Moo says, I think Pedro Pascal would like to be able to take his helmet off. That's why he should just do a voiceover for most of season 2. I understand that, and I was thinking that myself. Like, as an actor, so much of it is your nonverbal communication. And yes, to Mando's development and journey, like, most of it has to be under his mask. But he has such a his facial expressions are so good, just like Adam Driver's. So I hope we can get that mask off as soon as his character is ready. And that's another thing. Like, the reason that I think that is harmful is because you know, he has to say, have you seen anyone who looks like me? So the Mandalorians erase a person's identity and individualism. Yeah. And so to me, that's pretty unhealthy when a cult makes you hide yourself and hide from being intimate with anyone. You know, like, that's what an occult says. Like, it brainwashes you to, like, don't trust anyone. You can only trust us.
Right. Exactly. Meredith said, Girls with Sabers, have you watched The Last Skywalker by Heroes Fan Productions' awesome Ben Solo tribute? No. I'll have to check that out. Thanks for letting us know. Molly said, there's no way Disney Lucasfilm is blind to how popular Ben is and all the Reylo tributes being made. They know that Ben Solo is Reylo money. All these money bags. Again, I'm sitting back. I'm just watching and waiting. Now, if it happens, I'll be floored. If not, I won't be surprised.
I'm churning.
It will, because, like you guys said, it's money. It's money. Seeing, you know, and maybe that was always the plan. Who the hell knows anymore? Maybe that was the plan. You rip it away and, you know, to make people go ape crazy, and then you give it back to them, and even more money is shelled out than ever before. Than even if you didn't, you know. So, here I am.
IYBL Cinemana says, I know we all were huge fans pre-episode 9, but recently I really got into Ezra Bean, which is Ezra plus Sabine. Do you think we'll see this in Mando season 2 or Rebel sequel series? I definitely... okay, you know, just on surface level, in Rebels, you can definitely tell that Ezra has a thing for Sabine, and Sabine kind of is the Princess Leia to Ezra. Like, she's kind of all sassy, but she, you know, Sabine is she's very much like Princess Leia. You know, she is very vulnerable on the inside, but she has a very hard Mandalorian exterior. But I think she did started having feelings for Ezra that was never really expressed literally, but just the fact that she was willing to go after him and find him with Ahsoka, I really think there is a relationship there. And Lou and I have discussed in previous live streams that one of the things that they could do is if Rey is trying to find Ben or contact Ben in the world between worlds, wouldn't it be awesome if she meets Sabine, and Sabine goes, I know what it's like to lose someone in the world between worlds, and I got him back, so let me help you get yours back. And I would love that. You know, let's have some girl power movies. Like, let's not have, you know, 2 guys and a girl anymore. Let's have Sabine and Ahsoka and Ezra, and not Sabine, Ahsoka and Sabine, Ahsoka and Rose. You know, go get Ben Solo. Like, let's have like a female Charlie's Angels kind of thing where we have some girl stories.
Yes, I'm down. Minky Moo says, were you disappointed that Jedi came into Mando so quickly? Technically, for me, it didn't feel quick because this is already season 2. And we haven't seen any Jedi yet. I mean, it's episode, whatever. Technically the 3rd episode of season 2. And we've only heard of the first Jedi name right now. So I'm not too disappointed. Season 1 was awesome. And even though there was no Jedi around, it still felt Star Wars-y. It felt so Star Wars-y. And they did a really good job with that nostalgic feeling. And I feel they're doing that now. I would feel kind of disappointed if they didn't bring any Jedi in, because we know from Rebels Ahsoka is alive, and it's just it would make sense as far as the timeline is concerned. So I'm not disappointed. I'm fine with the fact that they are bringing her in now in the next few episodes. So yeah, I love it.
I just also wonder what's going to happen when he does meet Ahsoka, because Ahsoka is not a Jedi. Ahsoka left the Jedi because she had problems with the Jedi.
That's what I was going to say.
So, like,
I feel she's going to explain
yes,
being a Mandalorian to Din.
yeah,
Like Bo, in her own way, she kind of snarked at it. She pretty much called, "Oh, you're from that cult faction," blah 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 blah, whatever she said. But I feel Ahsoka, being the way she is, will definitely... I bet she'll get Din to take his mask off again.
Well,
and that's when we'll see him again, and Ahsoka will be able to do that.
I think also Ahsoka is going to say Yoda is not his... the Jedi are not his people. The Jedi are not someone that you want to take your child to. The child belongs to you. You are a clan of 2, and you are his family. The Mandalorian clan that you have is an occult, not your family. A family that does not allow you to express individualism and be your own person, and literally, stuff you in an armor all the time. That's not freedom. So yeah. I think that's going to be the message of the Mandalorian is, keep the honorable nobility of what is in the code, but lose the junk, lose some of the teaching, the indoctrination, because these people were literally rescuing children so they can indoctrinate them into a warrior cult.
Yeah. We shall have to wait and see.
So fun.
But I love it. This whole series is definitely bolstered the fandom as far as feeling Star Wars again, which I love. This season of Mando definitely is way darker, but then you kind of have to look at this episode as even like a second movie in a trilogy, where that one is always a bit darker. So I'm okay with that. It's just these creatures. And someone needs to just have Baby Yoda have some good real food all the time.
Yes.
I can't remember who said it way up in the chat. It might have been Molly or Meredith. But they're like single dad struggles. It's like just trying to keep him fed and safe. Oh my god. Poor Din. At
least he doesn't have any hair to fix.
Yeah, Meredith said, I love that Mando and the Clone Wars is kind of reuniting the fandom. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's definitely a breath of fresh air, which we all need. Yep. Definitely. I think this about wraps up our stream, Em.
I think so too. We do have more in the wings for you. We have we're recording a new podcast, a new series pretty soon that will be released, and doing more of the literature thing. So So, keeping that ball rolling. So,
Let's talk about Star Wars here and there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Let's not talk about Star Wars. Just will be, here and there, but we're going to inject a lot of other things in, and we're very excited.
Because really, it's all united. Like, look at all the King Arthur legends in the dark saber. You know how the and look at the. Someone said that the spider. I think it begins with K. I can't remember the name of the species of the spider, but it's basically space Shelob. Someone said that up there in the comments. I'm sorry. I give you full props. I just can't remember who you are. So comment and say, that was me, because that was great.
Yep. All right. Well, I think this is it.
So everyone, thank you for hanging out with us and talking some Star Wars, some Ben Solo and the Mandalorian. If you would like to chat with us, we are most active on Instagram, and we're also on Facebook and Tumblr. And we are on Twitter, but we're not very active there, so it's better if you reach us on the other platforms. We do have a Patreon, so if you have some extra money in the coffers. I know it's hard times, so no pressure, but we do have a Patreon that gives you some exclusive content, including live streams for Patreon only and discount on our merchandise in our store. Then consider being a Patreon. You can be one for only $1 a month if you choose to do so. But really, truly, we appreciate all support, all kinds of support. Just you being here, watching our live streams, chatting with us in the comments, participating in the chat. This is a community first and foremost, and we're so glad you're here. So come talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. We also have merchandise on TeePublic. All of these links and information is in the description box below. So, yeah, so glad you're here, and peace, love, and Raylo. Anything else, Miss Lou?
Yes, a couple of things.